One thing that I just have to say, I have zero sympathy for the reporters. They covered this up. They
Same.
all knew this. They're embarrassed, yes, yet they are the ones who literally were speaking propaganda for the ruling party. There are dictators around the world that are jealous of the system in Washington, D.C. This is really pathetic. And there needs to be a full investigation. There needs to be a January 6th style, real investigation of who covered this up. We're the greatest nation in the history of the world. We should not be having a press corps working with the Democrats to hide the health of the president of the United States. This is dangerous. We're on full display as NATO members are in Washington, D.C. I was just in Washington, D.C., talking with several delegations. They're all talking about this. They're all nervous. Imagine what Iran and North Korea and China and Venezuela, imagine what they're all planning and thinking. This is a very dangerous moment for America.
So now we have some people playing this pretend game that Joe Biden's presser at 6:30 will determine the future of Joe Biden's candidacy and the very country. Like the existence of the country could be in the balance tonight because they have to win because Trump is on the other side and they have to get this right. And so we have to pretend that there's some sort of a beauty show going on tonight at 6:30 where they're going to take their last look at this Biden horse and decide whether it's got the legs to actually run the race. I mean, this is so absurd. We saw what we saw at the debate. I personally don't care what he does in his interview. Now he's giving an interview to Lester Holt on Monday, or what he did in his interview with Stephanopoulos last Friday, or what he says tonight at 6:30 at this presser. I have enough information to make a judgment, and so does everyone. So you tell me, you've been around politics a long time. What are the Democrats doing right now? What is the game at the moment?
Well, it's just simply a power play. Look, my attitude right now is, why is it such a big deal that they went through the entire Democrat primary? He won every state. He became the nominee. They got to live with it. That's this. They chose their nominee for November. So now it's a choice. It's either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. It's not the end of the world if they lose an election, but the press are acting like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose, so we have to change horses now. I mean, I remember the time when the Democrats were talking about undermining democracy, something or other. And so now we're faced with, they went through the whole process. They knew, are you kidding me? Did they know in December of last year or January of this year that Joe Biden was failing? Of course they did. We were mocked when we pointed it out. If you watch CNN or MSNBC or just read the New York Times or the Washington Post, you're surprised. If you watched the Megyn Kelly Show, Newsmax, Fox, a whole bunch of other outlets, you are not shocked. You've been watching this train wreck and you've been mocked for bringing it up. And so, the juicy part of your monologue was pointing out how many people went to just the latest fundraiser in Los Angeles and stayed silent. I mean, Jon Favreau's wife had to bring it up to say, oh my gosh, are you seeing this? So his wife was nudging him. He didn't see it. The wife brought it up. And so I think that we have to hold these people to account. They went through the primary. They chose their guy. They now have to live with it in November. I do think it's a separate question right now is, are we able to have Joe Biden as a competent president? They seem to think yes, because he's been sick, but they want him to still be the nominee. But it's a separate question, should he step back from the presidency? My gut says they're going to keep him there. They're going to celebrate him all the way through. They are going to let him be the nominee because he's not going anywhere. But you and I both know, if for some reason lightning strikes and God intervenes and they win and Joe Biden wins, he'll last a very short time and they'll hand it over to Kamala.
It's amazing because they've make the argument that Joe Biden is not the most effective messenger against Donald Trump. That's how they're saying it. because they don't want him to be 25th Amendmented right out of office. They can't say what we all know is real, which is he's not fit. He's not fit now. He's certainly not going to be fit for another 4 years. So they've chosen to argue it in a way that would allow them to disqualify him as the candidate, but allow him to remain in office for the next 7 months. And to your earlier point, not only were people like you and me, everybody, like Fox, Newsmax, all dismissed as, crazy right-wing conspiracy theorists for raising the issue of his infirmity, we were called ageists, ableists, and that's continuing in some circles. Listen to this Democratic representative from Nevada out here just this week.
More than 70% of voters think that President Biden is not demonstrating the capacity to be president. 56% of Democrats say that they would be better off with another nominee. Those are the concerns that I'm talking about that are showing up in the numbers and that are affecting his approval rating.
What I find interesting is that issue is more around ageism and ableism and not what this President Biden has done.
Oh my God. I mean, Rick, that's just not going to work. Nice try, Stephen Hosford, but no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, look, we are not talking about the message of the Democrats at all. We're only talking about the messenger. And I do think it's convenient for them to pretend like it's just Joe Biden, that it's not about two wars, gas prices, an open border, inflation, all of those issues, which is why the American people have been outraged. They are not supporting Joe Biden and the Democrats. The Democrats are going to lose, not simply because Joe Biden is old, but because they have a terrible message. They're trying to scramble and pretend like it's just Joe Biden to distract, like if we just replaced Joe Biden and had Kamala Harris, that somehow gas prices are going to be fine again. It's going to take them a lot of money and a lot of different messengers to convince people that inflation is not real and that the border is closed and that we don't have two horrific wars of massive killing. I believe that the message is literally why they're losing. It's not just simply the messenger.
It was Lenin who said, "Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted." Well, in the last 4 years, math and reading skills are on the decline. And let's not forget all the woke indoctrination. Plus, inflation is making things harder than ever, but there is some good news. And that's why I want to tell you about Freedom Project Academy. Freedom Project Academy was built on Judeo-Christian values and classical curriculum. Love that. Students read full books. They write in cursive. They study the full scope of history. They graduate with knowledge years above their public school peers. They have payment plans, so you don't need to choose between paying the mortgage and ensuring your kids get a decent education. I could have used these folks when we pulled our kids from the woke, annoying private schools in New York. So you can save 10% right now on tuition when you enroll at freedomforschool.com. That's freedomforschool.com. Check out their fully accredited courses, you can preview classes, payment plans, and request a free information packet today. Enrollment ends soon, so please don't wait. Take back your child's education at Freedom Project Academy, freedomforschool.com. That's freedomforschool.com. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.